Wherever you are in your resting position, place your hands face down, either on your knees or on the earth beside you if you're laying down. Now, using that connection between your knees and your hands, your palms, or between the palms of your hands and the earth, we're going to inhale, push into whatever we have underneath of our palms, and exhale, let that pressure go. This breath may seem the opposite of what we usually do. We sink, we press down with our exhale. But tonight, to begin our practice, we are doing the opposite, so that as you press in, you inhale and you ground yourself, and exhale, release that pressure. We're going to keep this breath flowing. Inhale, use that grounded feeling to gather any strength, any energy, anything you need, and exhale, release it all. We often say with your exhale to let something go, but often when we crunch down, we release the spine, let it hang heavy. It's not as easy to let things go. So tonight, not saying that this is better or worse, just something different. On your inhale, use that pressure to gather strength, gather energy, whatever you need. And exhale, like a feather, let something go that isn't serving you. We'll take 10 more of these breaths, 10 more rounds. Your last few cycles here. Just simply be light, ethereal, in this space that you're creating for yourself. And let this breath wash over you. Let it be cleansing. Let it be whatever you need. Take your last breath here, just of this cycle. And exhale, light as a feather, let it go. Eyes stay closed. If they weren't already, close them. Hands come to heart center. We're going to begin our practice formally with one Om. Choice to listen, to join in, to do whatever feels right to you this evening. One clearing breath before. Inhale and exhale, let it go through the crown of your head, up nice and tall. Inhale, exhale. Flutter open your eyes. And we have a really exciting and juicy sequence tonight. The only thing I ask is to get rid of apprehension or wondering what's coming next, because I promise we're going to weave all over and we're going to get all across the knees and legs tonight. Hopefully you'll feel really good after. Just come along the journey with us. All right, coming into a butterfly position. Your toes and heels are going to come to touch. Your knees are going to come out wide. Option right away, if you know that you want to use a pillow or a bolster, it would feel good as you're warming up your body. You can place it over top of your feet and fold down on top of it. Inhale, nice tall spine. And exhale, start to fold. I'll meet you right there. Once you get to your deepest position, we're going to be here for a little bit. So start to let the hips open. Start to let the low back lengthen. Option with your inhale to straighten your spine. And then with your exhale, you can let yourself fold a little bit more. Just taking these first few moments to really let the hips relax, let them open. Only go as deep as you're comfortable, especially as we start. Feel the outsides of the glutes start to turn on or start to lengthen. And you don't have to be in the same position the whole time. You can bring your feet closer or farther away, whatever feels good. We're here for 5 more breaths. Last breath right here. And then with your exhale, start to walk yourself back up. Bring your knees in close and either take a turn if your mat is lengthwise or just roll down onto your back. We're going to take some windshield wipers with our legs side to side. So you plant your feet in the earth nice and wide and roll side to side. Let this feel really good, kind of massaging through the glutes. Keep going side to side at your own pace. And then when you're ready, come to stillness in the center. Now we're going to take an inversion here. If you're near a wall, you can come into legs up the wall. I know it's at the beginning of our practice, but be open to what this brings. Or if you would like, no wall nearby, you can just bring your knees into your armpits, reach up and grab your feet or behind your calves or your shins, whatever works. Behind your quads, grabbing the hamstrings. Grab onto whatever you can and just start to pull the legs down. If you are in legs up the wall, let your legs be long and straight. The stretch here is secondary to the inversion. So we want the blood flow to flow in the opposite direction, flowing down from our toes into our torso area, into the heart. If you're in a happy baby, you can rock side to side. If you're in legs up the wall, I don't think that's as feasible, so just stay where you are. 5 more breaths here. Maybe you start to feel little tingles through the toes, that's okay. You can always bend your knees, let the blood flow return, and then come back when you are ready. Take one more breath. And then one big exhale. You can stay on your back. If you're in legs up the wall, just let your knees come into your chest. Maybe rock side to side. And then hopefully your strap, if you have one, is nearby, or your resistance band. If not, go ahead and gently grab it. We're going to come into a series of extended hand to foot, but we're using our strap to guide us. So on your back, you're going to pick one side, hook the band or strap on the outside, kind of near the arch of your foot. Let the other leg go long. Now we're going to start just in the center. So let the leg gently come forward. Knee is not locked out. There can be a gentle bend in the knee. But shoulder blades roll down your back. Keep your breath flowing in and out, nice and deep. Just stretching out the back of the lifted leg. Find your calm, find your stillness here. The longer we're in this position, the better the stretch. Take 2 more breaths. Last breath. And last exhale. Now taking the same arm as leg, you're going to gently let it open out to the side, opening through the hip like we did in our butterfly pose. Now once you get to your lowest point, start to relax into it, but remind the opposite hip to ground down into the earth. If you're letting your foot go so low to the ground that your hip, your opposite one, is coming up, it's too far. Bring it back a little bit. You can always rest this foot on something, maybe a block, maybe a pillow. Gently opening up through the inside of the thighs. Let the shoulders still melt down. Uh-oh, we may have just found a game. Take one more breath. And exhale. Now gently start to bring that leg back to the center. You may want to bend your knee. And then take your opposite hand onto the band or strap. And you're going to bring it over top onto the other side, a great IT band stretch. Now for this one, you can do it a couple of ways. You can invite a twist into the torso, into the spine, to allow the foot to touch on the ground, or you can choose to keep both hips grounded in the earth and just let the leg fall over to the side. That's the way I prefer, because you feel that stretch even deeper through the outside of the lifted leg. Hold here and breathe, perhaps the most difficult one to breathe through it. Make sure the knee isn't locked out and always back off if you feel pain. Take 2 more breaths. One more breath. And exhale, gently bring your leg back up through center. Bend the knee, bring it close, and then release it from the band. Let it go long next to your other leg and feel how much longer that leg feels. Oh my gosh. For me, I think it feels about 4 inches longer. I know that's probably not true, but it's in my mind. Let's hit the other side. Bringing that opposite knee in close. Go ahead and wrap that band around the other foot in the arch of the foot. And beginning with the center, maybe reset your hips if you need to. And then gently start to pull that leg into your chest. Knee is as straight as it can be without locking it. Shoulder blades melt down. Face relaxes. Now you may feel something totally different than the other side, and that's okay. Welcome that. Oh no. Puppies and door stoppers and yoga. What a day. Take 2 more breaths on this side. Feeling those muscle fibers really extend. Oh, feels good. After your last exhale, take same arm and leg into the strap and gently start to open that leg out to the side. Again, keep an eye on that opposite hip, inviting it to come down. Anyone grew up with Big Comfy Couch, that TV show? This totally reminds me of that. Except no one's getting 1 or 2 o'clock or 11 o'clock. We're lucky if we get 3 and 9. I shouldn't say no one. Anyways. Opening up through the inner thighs. Let this feel good. Take 1 more breath on this side. And then exhale. Now very gently, maybe bending your knee. You're going to bring that leg all the way through center and on to the other side. Taking your version here of an IT band stretch, maybe it's inviting the full twist, or it's grounding both hips. Apparently someone doesn't want to be here. It's okay, he'll be fine. Letting that outer thigh open up. Take 2 more breaths here. Beautiful job. After your last breath, bring that leg back up through center, bend the knee, release the strap, and let that leg go long. Stay here for 1 breath, feeling the ease, the effortless feeling through the legs. And then bend both knees, come into another set of windshield wipers, nice and wide. Maybe feeling those inner thighs a little bit more open, feeling the outer thighs with less tension. Now coming into stillness in the center. Gently let the legs go long and use your elbows and your forearms to slowly press yourself up. We're coming into a nice forward fold. Now here's an option to use your chair if you would like. If you have a chair, bring the seat facing you and you're just going to come down into your forward fold with your head resting on the seat. If you have a pillow or a bolster and you'd like to use it, place it lengthwise on your legs or just whatever works for the shape of your pillow. And we're going to come down into a forward fold. Inhale, arms come up nice and tall. Exhale, fold. Let yourself melt into your pillow. So we just stretched all in the in and outside of the legs. Now we're stretching that connection between the low back and the hips into the glutes. So we may have stretched it just a little bit when we had our leg in the center, but here you get even more time to really relax into it. I wish we could spend the rest of our time in this pose, but we have 5 more breaths, nice and deep. Hopefully you're finding something, a place that needs release. Breathe directly into there and channel that breath we did at the beginning. So you inhale, ground your breath down, ground your hips down, and exhale, release that tension as the breath flows out. After your last breath, take a nice clearing exhale and gently start to press yourself up. You're going to remove that pillow off to the side and we're coming into swan or pigeon, either way. So we're going to swing our legs around, come into a kneeling position, into all fours or tabletop. And you're just going to walk one knee forward. Knee is going to come to the same wrist as the leg. And then spin that leg open so that the heel and the toe are facing to the side. And that heel is up near your opposite hand. Now start to walk that back knee back just a little bit. And you're there. You can stay right here. You can start to walk yourself down if you would like, or you can bring something, maybe a block, some books, underneath of the hip. If you really don't want to go down any further and you want to relax into this. The lifted hip would have the prop, the pillow or the block rather. Let your torso melt down. Take 2 more breaths here in your swan or pigeon. Opening up through the side of the glutes. After your last breath, start to walk the torso up. You're going to press yourself onto the grounded knee. Remove any props if you have them. And then start to toe heel that foot over to the other side. So now it's going to come outside of your hands. You're coming into a lizard pose here. So you're going to take that same sort of a stretch, but you're going to come forward and let your front foot rock to the outside edge. You're going to feel a great stretch in the inner thigh. Now this is as far as I like to go in my lizard, or dragon in yin as we call it. But if you would like to come down a little further, you can always walk yourself down onto your forearms. Feel that stretch intensify. We'll be here for 3 breaths. Feel that opening through the opposite hip flexor as well. That's another benefit of this pose. Keep your block handy or your stack of books. And with your last exhale, start to walk yourself forward. Again, pull that knee back. And you're going to set your block right kind of in front of your hands. We're going to come into a down dog with our head on the block. So curl your back toes, start to lift your hips high to the sky. And you can walk your hands forward if you need to. Start to come down and rest your head on the block. Now, if that doesn't feel good, you have many sides of your block. If that's too low, you can kind of roll it, place it a little higher, or you can just get rid of it. You can just come into a regular down dog. Our aim here isn't to put too much weight into the head. It's just to remind the stretch to travel backwards. It's less about the arms and more about the legs here. Take one more breath. And exhale, drop your knees. We're coming onto side 2. So remove that block, but keep it nearby. We're going to bring the opposite knee up and then start to toe heel it over. We're coming into pigeon or swan first here. So again, knee comes right up to that same wrist. And then you're going to walk that opposite knee back. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you place something under that hip. But we know never to rock and let that hip be on the ground unless our stretch is that deep. Take 2 more breaths here. Reminding yourself of all the good work you're doing for your body. And then with your last exhale, or after your last exhale, start to walk yourself up. Come back onto that knee. Reset the foot outside of both hands. They're going to come inside that foot and then start to shift your weight forward. Let that knee fall open to the side. Lizard or dragon here. Maybe you try walking down to your forearms. Maybe this side doesn't allow that, and that's totally fine. Feeling that stretch again in the opposite hip flexor. Take 2 more breaths here. And after your last exhale, start to walk yourself back up. Bring that knee back together with the other one. Bring that block in front of you. If you liked it last time, you can let it go this time if you didn't. And we're coming into one more down dog with head on the block. Shoulders spiral down and away. Outside rotation. Thumb and forefinger spiral back inwards. Heels are just to hover off the earth. Someone is lifting your hips high to the sky. One more breath. And then exhale, bring the knees wide, toes come to touch. Child's pose. Let it go. One more breath. And then exhale, start to walk yourself up. You're going to come onto one hip on the side. Bring that opposite foot in front. And then you're going to grab that grounded foot and pull it backwards. We're coming into cat pulling its tail. So you're pulling that opposite foot backwards, coming into a quad stretch. Now, not everyone feels it this way. You can always take the upper leg. Take one more breath. And then exhale, come through center. You're just going to shift to the other side and find your opposite side here. So bottom leg can come back, front leg comes forward, cat pulling its tail. A nice quad stretch, something that doesn't involve balance. Maybe you feel a stretch on the outside of the hip. One more breath. And then exhale, let it go. Our next stretch, we're going to gently transition to standing. And we're going to come into a standing wall half triangle. And then keep your block handy. So I'm going to just bring this up a tad. So you're headed to a wall. You're headed into a triangle pose, or like a pyramid pose really. So one foot is in front of the other. With that foot in front, you're going to lift the toes. Maybe you're going to place a block so that your toes can just grasp onto it, and it'll add a bit of a deeper stretch. Other foot is back, and then you're just going to put your hands in front and press yourself back. An amazing stretch for the front calf as well as the hamstring. It's going to travel all the way up the back of your leg. You'll probably feel it more in the front leg, but maybe both legs. We hold here for 5 breaths. You control the intensity. Let the shoulders relax. Feel that lower back and hip separate just a little bit. After your last breath, you're gently gonna just bend that front knee a little bit. Walk your hands up And then come to a standing position and just switch legs. We're going to come right onto the other side here. So opposite foot comes in front, both feet are parallel. Toes just hook on the outside of that block or whatever you have. And then start to walk yourself down. 5 breaths on this side. Beautiful work. After your last breath, gently walk yourself up. Come to standing. And we're just going to turn around. Come onto your mat. Bring your pillow or your bolster, whatever you have as an option. We're coming into a frog pose. So I like to lay my torso on this so it's not as intense on my hips, but you're gonna just bring the pillow down and bring the knees out wide. Come into a frog stretch using the bolster. Arms can come by your sides, they can go out long. Use this as a clearing pose to let everything go from that stretch that we just did. Take 3 more breaths here. 3 more nice and full deep breaths. Beautiful. After your last exhale, you're just going to lengthen one leg long behind you. And then maybe scoot yourself back so that your hip is coming just off the edge of your pillow. Now, our torso is going to stay where it is. We're coming into a scissor stretch here, but with a twist. So you're going to bring yourself up. You may want to press yourself up to do this. Bring that opposite knee across in front of your other leg. Start to send it long to the side. I know you probably can't see, but my leg is coming underneath of my body, coming over to the side, and then you're going to walk your torso down. So we have this twist here because our hips and our torso are going in different directions. Our hips are kind of opening off to the side, and then our torso is spiraling down. Now, of course, the goal is to try to get the hips to face forward, but they might not. So we do have that very gentle twist in the spine, using the weight of your skeleton to really dig into this IT band stretch. Melt into this with your exhales. Let something go. Let your shoulders melt down out of your ears. Let your jaw relax. Take 3 more breaths on this side. Beautiful job. Now very gently start to place your hands on the earth. Press yourself up in the torso. Bend that grounded knee. Use your core to pull that knee in. Reset in a tabletop position. Maybe shift side to side. And then we're going to come on to the other side. So lengthening that leg long behind you that was just twisted to the side. Then start to walk your opposite leg out. Leg comes to the side. Torso comes down, flat on the pillow. Right away, I can tell that both of my sides are not the same. So that's totally fine if that's the case for you. Give each side what it needs. Melt into this. Take those same body scans for those places you know you hold tension. Maybe it's shoulders, maybe it's the neck, maybe it's in between the eyebrows again. And take 3 full breaths here. Beautiful work. The birds are coming in. After your last exhale, gently start to press yourself back up. Again, lift that front leg, come back onto the knee, reset in a tabletop position. Take a couple of shifts side to side. And then very gently, you're just going to rock onto one side. Bring your legs out in front. We're coming into a wide angle forward fold. Legs can be as wide as you feel comfortable. Maybe coming right up onto the pillow. Arms extend up overhead. And then exhale, melt down and forward. Make sure that the feet are still facing up, knees still up. If they aren't, if they're coming down into the center, just walk them a little bit closer. Coming down to your edge, maybe using your inhale to find a brief flat back, and then an exhale, fold even deeper. Let that stretch travel up through the top of your back into the base of your skull. So many of these stretches focus on that connection between the low back and the hips and the start to the very top of the legs. So let that space really open. That's the gateway to so much tension, but also so much release if we give it the opportunity. One more breath here. And then exhale, gently start to press yourself up. You can move that pillow out of the way. We don't need it anymore for right now. Start to close your legs like a book, and we're coming down onto our backs for our final stretches. Roll yourself all the way down, bring your knees into the chest, and find one more set of windshield wipers. I'm sharing my mat with someone. All right. Legs are going to come out long. We're taking our closing stretch as a Bananasana before we find our resting pose. So arms come up overhead. Let the shoulders stay down the back though. We're going to bring arms and legs onto one side. Doesn't matter which one. Say the left side first. Legs come over. Torso comes over. Let the arms come over to the left. Grab the right hand in the left hand and gently pull. You're just making the shape of a banana here. Taking one final stretch to really lengthen through the hip flexors, through the sides of the hips. We here let everything melt down into the mat. You're doing a great job. Just hold and breathe. Take 2 more breaths on this side. And once you are finished, bring your knees, or your legs rather, and your arms back to center. Take 1 breath here in the center just to reset. And then walk your feet and hands to the opposite side. If you're on the right side, option for left leg to cross in front of right. And then you can bring your right hand around the left, just pulling it gently, finding the maximum amount of stretch through the left side. Beautiful. Hold here, your final working stretch. Thank yourself for all that you've done for your body, for taking this time for yourself. Take 2 more breaths on this side. And after your last exhale, walk yourself back to the center. Take 1 more breath in the center here, arms overhead, and let it go. We're gently going to transition into our resting pose. So maybe you stay exactly where you are. Bring the hands down to a low V, palms faced up. Or if you would like to find a little bit more release through the low back, you can gently place your pillow or your bolster underneath of the knees and then roll back into that same flat back position, just with a little bit of elevation in the knees. This will allow the low back to scoop under and to really release. Coming into your resting pose, take a very slow and thorough body scan here. Any bit of tension, you know what to do. Inhale, ground yourself. Exhale, release it up and out. Breath is full, breath is deep. Exhales are longer than inhales. Relax everything here. Know that you are worthy of full relaxation, of bliss, of anything that you desire here. No matter what mountains you are currently facing, you are worthy of a joyful moment. You are always worthy. Take 3 final breaths here just for you. After your last exhale, gently start to invite some movement back into the body. Maybe wiggling through fingers and toes, or maybe you make the choice to stay exactly where you are and finish in your Shavasana. That is fine. It's a wonderful choice. If you'd like to return to where we started in a seated position, gently add some rocks side to side with your knees. Maybe rocking all the way over onto one side and gently pressing yourself back up, eyes closed in a seated position. Once you get there, bring the hands to heart center. Press the thumbs into the sternum, feel that connection. One clearing breath. One final Om. Inhale. Bring your thumbs to your third eye. I bow to you. The light in me honors the light in each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your light, your love, your presence with us. It is so appreciated. Have a wonderful evening. Let me know how you feel. I would love to hear. And I'll see you next time.